what I want to tell you is a little bit of inside baseball, and that is that these days, the way the application process works, it's kind of like a black hole. So if you think that you can respond to an ad or on a company's website and believe that your resume is going to be given a fair treatment, I hate to tell you, but it may not happen. And the reason.
Hello and welcome to Fresh Insights from Fresh Faces, the show for senior living sales and marketing leaders. And today we are thrilled to be joined by Brad Wachter from Senior Living Recruiter. Really thrilled to talk to you today, especially because your unique perspective on the current state of senior living, especially as it applies to, communities and organizations that are seeking marketers every day, and kind of what type of skills and development opportunities you see. But, just tell us more about your involvement with both on the provider side and then with individual marketers. And
we work with the full spectrum of providers, independent, assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, all combinations thereof, CCRCs. And probably our best clients are those medium-sized companies, maybe between 3 and a dozen communities that are really large enough to need our help, but not so large that they have internal teams of recruiters on their payroll. And generally, I'm working with the president of those companies, sometimes the chief operating officer, sometimes the VP of sales. Those are generally my key contacts, and they call us for all manner of positions, but certainly director of sales and marketing is one of our most common searches. And so for your audience, that's probably a third of our overall business is either the community-based director of sales and marketing or regional or sometimes the corporate level positions, along with operations and, the healthcare roles are what we get the most of. And we're permanent placement recruiters. So we don't generally deal with temporary assignments. We were going out and finding talent to try and replace someone who's either left or maybe a new position. We do a lot of new construction as well. With the growing of the industry, we find that our clients really value our services when they really need to get that initial management team right to open that new community and start getting a return on that big investment they've made.
So it's important that you find skilled and experienced professionals that, especially with new developments, that can really hit the ground running. Is that correct?
That's what we're really expect to do. And it's frustrating at times because I can't tell you the number of high quality sales and marketing professionals that come to my website or find me on LinkedIn and they want to break into our industry. They for some reason they feel like it's an industry that they want to join, but and they can, and I try and spend as much time as I can afford with them to show them how to do that. But generally my clients are looking for people that already have the track record in our industry where they can show, what is their average number of move-ins, how high is their occupancy, what have they done to impact that. And so, generally I'm asked to provide those proven commodities to the positions that we fill.
What is that typical metric? Is it occupancy rate? Like what's the best show of success that say, you're on a search for a director of sales and marketing?
Well, it can be any of several, right? It could be move-ins. If it's a director that has several staff members, then perhaps it's more about the driving team performance. It could be keeping a community at high occupancy and how they manage that wait list if a community is so lucky as to be full with a wait list. If it's new construction, then it's really, about can they sell blue sky? Can they get out there and paint a vision in the community when there's nothing but, a hole in the ground? So it kind of depends on the needs of the client at the time and how they look at things. But or maybe it's a type of sale, so some of my CCRC clients really value the different kind of sales cycle that goes along with an entrance fee life care contract, and how that's, typically a longer sales cycle, a little bit more complex, more money being put down. And But all those are important, and I just try and listen to what the client's priorities are, and find that for them.
Hmm. So what's the profile, or say skills that are in demand, or the profile of a role?
My clients, if it's a 120 unit assisted living and memory care, they're more likely to want to see someone that's already done sales and marketing for a similar size community. And so when I see people sort of move up in terms of community size, it's generally in chunks. It's hard to go from a 30 unit to a 150 unit. It happens, but I see a lot of my clients being fairly risk averse with that kind of a move. So that's a little bit about experience. But you asked about skills. Really, it's a combination of the outreach, and then the process that happens once the lead is in house. So one thing I find really difficult for some of the folks that do sales and marketing is to balance going out in the community and raising awareness, developing referral, um, relationships, but also spending enough time in the community to run events or give tours or meet with families, et cetera. And so uh, it's that balance. Some people gravitate one way or the other, and sometimes get out of balance. And so that skill is really important.
Is a dynamic personality more valuable than someone that's very effective at prioritizing and attacking, certain objectives?
It has to be both, especially if it's a company that insists upon measurement, right? So not all companies are like this, but some companies, really want you to keep track of your ratios, so, leads to, uh, visits,
Mhm.
tours to move-ins, or, any manner of different ways of slicing and dicing the data. So if you're not a process-oriented person, but you're expected to keep track of those metrics, it can be difficult. On the creativity side, sure, trying to stand out from the crowd with your direct mail, with the events that you plan, with the VIP tours, um, the home visits I see as a more popular trend, kind of a controversial thing where some sales and marketers will say, we just don't have the time to go visit a prospect in their home. Well, but if the conversion ratio is high enough, then it can be worth the time. And some companies are now, insisting on it. So, those are some of the things I see as important.
Hmm. And what about the role of, say, social media, or is this still a very, high touch, one-on-one scenario, or can you achieve scale through CRM and marketing automation and social media?
Definitely more and more important. So, leads are valuable. The company is spending a lot of money on leads, and so you don't want to waste any. And so you need technology to keep track of those folks. You need an ability to sort out hot leads versus, longer term leads. Um, Other types of technology, whether it's trying to grab visitors from the website quickly,
Right.
but definitely those skills are in high demand. Keeping track with people you've already met with through email campaigns, drip campaigns.
Is there an industry or a practice area that's related where you find that if someone is going to transition into senior living from another industry, what experience or skills are most closely applied?
I found very good success with people that have formerly been account managers in home health,
Hmm.
maybe pharmaceutical, different types of medical product sales. And the reason that is well, there's a couple reasons. Sometimes those larger companies in those industries have very good training. So you might be lucky enough to join a company, say a pharmaceutical company like a Merck or Johnson and Johnson. They have really fabulous sales training that you may not get if your experience before has been, with a smaller size senior living company. So that's a plus. But beyond that, just the nature of those kinds of marketing roles where you literally, maybe spend 95% of your time out and about developing relationships. That kind of person that then goes into senior living is going to be totally used to the kind of outreach that's necessary. They won't be as tempted as someone else to get bogged down in the community related events. And so we see that the productivity for those types of people that change industries can be good if they can adapt to the other parts of the business that might be new to them. For example, meeting with families. They wouldn't have had to do that before. People that have done hotel sales, timeshare sales, cruise sales, those people have all made it a successful transition into the industry. And so a lot of those career changers that I speak to, they are drawn to senior living because they feel like they can make more of a difference in the important role that a senior living community plays in the life of that senior and the family.
I guess talk about the profile of the individuals that you often talk to, if they're active versus passive.
So let me answer that in two parts, Jeff. First, for those listening to this that may be hiring managers themselves, it's often misunderstood, but the kind of work that a firm like ours does, the reason why it's a value to our clients is because we generally use practices of finding folks that are otherwise unavailable to our clients. And what I mean by that is we generally are going after those people that are not actively looking. We call these people passive candidates. It's kind of it's not a perfect term, but what we mean by that is that if you have a job posted online, maybe on your website, elsewhere, these folks are not going to see it because they're not thinking about making a change. But if you think about it, sometimes those are the best candidates because they don't feel a need to make a change. They're not under some pressure because of their performance. Their company doesn't have instability that's forcing them to consider a move, other things. So we get in front of those folks by literally finding them through our research and getting them on the phone or sending them an email. It's really, at that base level, kind of simple, but a lot of work. And so those methods are generally not used by our clients who are, more in the employment advertising side of things. And so we can find those high quality candidates and then present them to our clients. So that's really the value that we add. Now, speaking to people that might be listening to this, that instead of worrying about hiring or maybe worried about their next career opportunity, what I want to tell you is a little bit inside baseball, and that is that these days, the way the application process works, it's kind of like a black hole. So if you think that you can respond to an ad or on a company's website and believe that your resume is going to be given a fair treatment, I hate to tell you, but it may not happen. And the reason why is these companies are just flooded with candidates of all different experience levels, and your resume can very well get lost in the shuffle. And so what I would say is you have to use the protocols that company sets up, but don't just leave it at that. If the folks listening to us are in sales, you need to think about how you sell yourself if you're looking for a new opportunity. And you do that by researching the company, finding, the relevant hiring manager, contacting that person directly, just as I, as a recruiter, would contact someone directly by finding out who they are, getting them on the phone, getting them through email, through LinkedIn, and saying, hey, I did apply through your company's process, but here's who I am, and I want you to know about me and why I'm interested and why I'm good for this job. And that really sets a person ahead a mile because it shows initiative, and it takes the work off the plate of the hiring manager, who might be disappointed that they haven't seen enough good candidates yet. And here you are presenting yourself to them personally. So, I go over that with people that contact me that maybe I know I can't help because they don't match up perfectly to the openings that I have currently. But, that's the shorthand version of how you need to do job search these days. Let's just break it down. I may be asked to do a job in a major metropolitan area, and say there are 100 assisted living communities in a short a commutable distance that may have a person with director level experience that are roughly the size of my client's community. Mm-hmm. out of that 100, first of all, we're going to try and contact as many of them as we can through multiple efforts. But at the end of the day, there's probably only 3 people that are both fully qualified and at that time, interested in making a move to the kind of opportunity that my client has. And so if you look at those, ratios and compare that to what happens when you post an advertisement, it's the exact opposite. So you get a high volume, but very few people that actually can fit into that, drop out the end of the pipeline, if you will.
Like what tools do you use, generally speaking, to find and build relationships?
It's networking, just like a marketer needs a network in their own community for the purpose of referrals.
Mm-hmm.
So, using your LinkedIn profile to just keep in touch with people in your local area that may eventually help with your job transition. So you don't have to just introduce yourself at the time that you may be needing to make a change, but you already have those executive directors, those regional salespeople, whoever is in your area, you already have some contact with them over time, so that when you do reach out, you're not unfamiliar to them.
Would you say this is a great time to be in the senior living industry and especially to be a sales and marketing leader?
I think it is a very good time. It's going to be a very good time for the years to come because of the growth of the industry. On the other hand, it's a very turbulent time. I do see an awful lot of organizational change, and this will be no surprise to anyone that listens to this. Companies being bought, being merged, closing. That does have an effect on a person's career because you may have 3 different managers in the span of 3 years, and that's tough.
Have you seen anyone effectively navigate that process? Do you have any tips to share for someone that's in that situation that wants to, navigate through these times like this?
I just say, if you're in sales and marketing, you probably have good relationship skills. Don't forget that you also have to use those skills internally, with the people that matter in your company. Don't just spend all of your energy relationship-wise focusing on your prospects, because at the end of the day, you continually need to, have people on your side when it comes to the organizational politics. I wish it wasn't that way. Yeah. I wasn't very good at it myself, or I may be still in the corporate world.
Well, Brad, this is a really great place to end. I greatly appreciate your time. This has been very valuable for us because our audience, every day we're really trying to grow and make an impact and learn not only, the best practices of sales and marketing in the industry, but also how we can, just set ourselves up for future success, both our own career and our community, and really just, be well positioned for the future, to participate in the future growth of this industry. So that being said, where can we find out more about you, or do you have a website or social information you'd like to share?
Yeah, thanks. So the website is just like the company name, Senior Living Recruiters, but it's .com. Okay. And so you can find me there. And so, the people that can reach out are either, hiring managers that may need our recruiting services, people that are interested in doing a job change can find me there or on LinkedIn. But also, we've just recently launched a new coaching program called Getting to Regional. And really, this is for the people that, contact me, they want to advance in their career. We may not have the right kind of next level opportunity for them currently because we work all over the country. And so if you're a community level sales and marketing director, want to make it the next move to up to a multi-site role, we may not have one available in your area. But the coaching program is 12 weeks spent teaching this person how to make that happen for themselves. So there's a button on the website that'll give you more information about that. And that's brand new, but I'm glad we have it because I always hated to have to turn people away that are looking for my help in that way, and now we can help them. Well, it's been a pleasure, Jeff. I appreciate you having me.